Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Uh, Welcome back, and nice to have you here. So, I came back to share some news with you. So, thank you again for coming back. Let's get started. Here are the news and Concerned Citizens Media comment for April 3rd, 2021. Claims of civilian deaths continue in Western Wallagga, Oromia. According to various media reports, about 180 plus Amaras were killed and several hundreds were also forced to flee to Wallo, Amara region on Wednesday, March 31st, 2021 by, they claim, by Onek Shane armored group in Babo Genel district in Western Wallagga, Oromia. However, Oromo Liberation Front, OLF, operating in this and other Oromia regions, repeatedly rejected such accusations. The armored group commander Jaal Marro made it clear on his interview with Al Jazeera media that his forces do not target innocent civilians regardless of their ethnicities. He even invited independent investigation to be carried out about those civilian killings claimed. In general, the killing of civilians everywhere, plus the increasing insecurity in the country, are the results of Abiy Ahmed's failed leadership in Ethiopia. The main cause of the deaths and the destruction is him. Concerned Citizens Media repeatedly asked for Abiy Ahmed's resignation and called for dialogue, reconciliation, and for the formation of the transitional government in Ethiopia. So we have to encourage him to resign, just like the previous Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn. He tried, he failed, he gave up. So Abiy, you failed. You have to give up power instead of keep killing, keep abusing the power, and keep imprisoning people. So your policy is not working, your leadership is a failure. So we have to demand collectively to force him resign. So Ethiopians must all add their voices to these calls for the sake of the nation. So instead of watching as a bystander, we have to demand his resignation, because the country is heading into the wrong direction. War everywhere, insecurity everywhere. Civilians are dying everywhere. So this is the result of his failed leadership, and he has to give up, like Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn. The United Arab Emirates is sending aid, not drones, to Ethiopia at this time. The United Arab Emirates sent an aid plane containing 46 metric tons of food and medical supplies to Ethiopia in support of the humanitarian situation in the Tigray region. The United Arab Emirates is also pledged 5 million to support displaced people in Ethiopia-Sudan border. So this is good. They are not sending drones. They are sending aids. They are sending financial help, humanitarian aid, which is good. So that's a good news. Foreign ministers of Sudan, apologize, a credit for that news is Addis Standard for UAE. Foreign Minister of Sudan, Egypt, and Ethiopia agreed to meet again today to discuss the controversial hydro dam project. The three-day meeting will be held in Kinshasa, capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo, starting today. And it is hosted by Dr. Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi, hard to read this name, Felix Tshisekedi, who took over the chair of the African Union last month. The chairman of the African Union's Commission, Musa Feki, is also expected to attend. The Nile, the world's longest river, is a lifeline supply of both water and electricity to the 10 countries it crosses. Egypt, which depends on the Nile for about 97% of its irrigation and drinking water, sees damming the Blue Nile as a threat to its existence. No major breakthrough is expected from this meeting. Credit Al Jazeera. So this is a foreign ministers meeting, but they did before. No major breakthrough is expected also from this meeting. We will see. It's today, Saturday, April 3rd. So before that, Egypt and Sudan want to expand, the mediators. Ethiopia refused. Okay, now Ethiopia is a winner because the negotiation is taking place under the African Union. So we'll see what will be the outcome. President Joe Biden is looking into his legal authority to cancel student loan debt. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain told Politico. Biden has asked Education Secretary Miguel Cardona to make a memo on the subject. The memo will look into both forgiving student loan debt and canceling it entirely, Ron Klain added. Just last week, President Biden canceled student loan for all permanently disabled students. A lot of students, almost 1.4 thousand, I think 1.4 million students get a forgiveness from Biden administrations. These are for permanently disabled students. So now they are looking into to cancel student loans for struggling students, and this is a major issue. It impacts so many students, impact them not to fulfill their American dreams. So we'll see it. So Biden is looking into the legal ways to do it without Congress, because Congress is, especially the Senate, you got the Republicans not willing to cooperate with Democrats, as seen with stimulus checks. So the same thing, you cannot get nothing done under them. A dangerous coronavirus variant is already spreading into other parts of the world, and the expert says it is critical the United States sticks with safety measures to avoid surge and keep people safe. The new variant, which is B1117, first spotted in the United Kingdom, is more contagious, may cause more severe disease, and rapidly infecting younger populations. Recent research suggests the strain may also be more deadly. Turkish officials reported the highest daily case count since the pandemic started, with most of those infections caused by the variant B1117. So this is a new variant, a new strain. In Canada, the strain has led to more infections and hospitalization, with officials reporting rising number of severe illness, including younger patients. So experts and government officials in the United States recommend sticking to the preventive guidelines plus getting vaccinations as soon as your turn comes up to preserve the gains against COVID-19 and to handle this widely spreading variant. So the advice is keep the social distancing, keep wearing the face mask, hand sanitizers, frequent hand washing, because we are not out of the woods yet. And the vaccination is still going on. Maybe about, I don't know, last time it was 16% population is vaccinated, still low. And we need to keep practicing the social distance and other guidelines to fight this disease. This virus is very serious. I know some Republicans governors are playing politics with it, and Americans also start acting, in a normal situations in a bar, restaurant. So they have to be careful. Otherwise, we're gonna go back, and it's gonna kill another, maybe nobody knows how many. And this new one is very dangerous, deadly. So please, viewers of concerned media, advise friends, families to keep wearing the mask, regardless of what the Republican governors are telling you. They want to open it up, they want to relax it, and the vaccination is just 16-17%. It's very low. Still a lot of people unvaccinated, millions and millions. So keep the preventive guidelines, following the preventive guidelines until at least maybe 70-80% people vaccinated, and the medical experts tell us it's okay to ignore the face mask and all these guidelines. But so far They are not saying that. They are advising us to get vaccinated, keep, applying the preventive guidelines. All these, we already know what are those guidelines, so we have to keep using it. Don't act uh, it is normal. No, it's not normal yet. It's still is slowing down, but if we open up, it will be a problem. So that is advice. Keep the preventive guidelines applied until further notice from medical experts and get vaccinated. Another tragedy at the U.S. Capitol Hill. One of the two officers injured on Friday at U.S. Capitol Hill attack has died. According to acting U.S. Capitol Police Chief Ugananda Pittman, the suspect rammed his car into two of our officers and then hit the North barricade barrier, Pittman said. The suspect exited his vehicle with a knife in his hand and started moving toward Capitol Police officers. Then the officers engaged the suspect and killed him. The suspect refused to obey the verbal order given by the Capitol Police. It is not clear about his motives and if this suspect is acting alone or on behalf of extremist groups that stormed the Capitol Hill on January 6, 2021, which caused the deaths of 5 Americans. So this is a tragedy at the Capitol Hill. And this, I think, is about 25 years old guy. Rammed his vehicle into the police officers. So still, investigation is going on. What is the reason why he did? Who sent him? Is he doing by himself? Or is there a group behind him? A lot of questions unanswered. Okay, the final reading for today. G7 countries' foreign ministers released a statement on the situation in Ethiopia. A statement from the foreign ministers of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, the UK, and the United States, and the high representatives of the European Union read as follows. So very strong statement from all these G7 countries, foreign ministers plus the European Union high representatives. This statement indicates that or shows us that all the demonstrations, the pro-Abiy, pro-dictator Isaias Afwerki, they conducted in Europe, in the United States, the intimidation, the threats they make against CNN, New York Times, and other medias, against the senators, the congressmen, whatever they did, nobody is listening to them because they don't have the truth. The truth is on the other side. That's why this statement is reaffirming that nothing is changed. Nothing changed. I'll read some of the statement released by these G7 countries. G7 countries. So they tried to cover the crime. They tried to cover the war crime by demonstrating in a huge number against the United States, against the European Union, against CNN, against the New York Times. But the result is zero, because this is clear. They try to cover the war crime. The genocide happened, and other atrocities happen in the Tigray region. Okay, let's read the statement. One, we are strongly concerned about recent reports of human rights violations and abuses and the violation of international humanitarian law in Tigray. That's one. We condemn the killing of civilians, sexual and gender-based violence, indiscriminate shelling, and the forced displacement of residents of Tigray and Eritrean refugees. 3. We recognized recent commitments made by the government of Ethiopia to hold accountable those responsible for such abuses and look forward to seeing these commitments implemented. Okay, it's not only showing the willingness, but they want to make sure they are carried out, the commitments implemented. 4. It is essential that there is an independent, transparent, impartial investigation into the crimes reported, and that those responsible for these human rights abuses are held to account. These are very, very strong statements. Very, 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 very strong statement, and agreed by all these countries. 5. We call for the end of violence and the establishment of a clear, inclusive political process that is acceptable to all Ethiopians. I repeat this one, very, very, very essential. This is not only about Tigrayans. This is all about Ethiopians. We call for the end of violence and the establishment of a clear, inclusive political process that is acceptable to all Ethiopians, including those in Tigray, and which leads to credible election. Look, credible election, not fake election. Credible elections and a wider national reconciliation process. So they say, we, the G7 members, stand ready to support humanitarian efforts and investigations into human rights abuses. So these are the statements released on April 2nd, 2021, after they have a meeting in, I think, in the United Kingdom. So still freedom-loving people fighting for their freedom are winning from the global community. And those people try to change the attention of the global community. Those trying to cover up for Abiy Ahmed, for Isaias Afwerki, and for those criminals, it didn't work. And it will not work. They can try. They can try. They tried. They came up with a big number, in coordination with Ethiopian embassies all over the world. They tried in Europe, Canada, the United States. What they get? Zero. As you can see from this statement. These are very strong statements. We don't know the Ethiopian government will implement them. We don't know. So this is from foreign ministers of Canada, Italy, France, Germany, United States, UK, and higher representative from European unions. So very strong statement, very encouraging for the Tigrayans and other freedom-loving people. And we know they're gonna do election, they're gonna conduct election, but they suggested it must be inclusive, it must be free and fair elections, and acceptable by all Ethiopians. So that's the reading part. Very, very good news, but it should be followed by some actions if these are not implemented, because words doesn't bring change, actions bring change. I know these are the beginning of strong statement, but we hope next time if they are not implemented, sanctions should follow. Sanctions, different form of sanctions, financial, political, and other form of sanctions must come after this to force these leaders to end the violence, to hold free and fair elections, to release political prisoners, thousands and thousands of prisoners in Oromia. And that will be the end for reading. Let's share some videos, then I will conclude today's presentation. Yes, let me see. Give me a few minutes, let me see. There we go. So. Okay, just give me some time. I apologize for technical issues. Yes, I'm gonna make it. Okay, here we go. There we go. This is come on. Okay, hold on. Come on. Don't do it. Okay, this one is just a short news on vaccinations, how vaccinations are made. This is CNA report, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. So let's see. It's interesting to see how they make the vaccinations. Okay, then I have another video later on.
Are you looking for a new way to make up to $700 this month and help save lives? Donate plasma and make up to $700 this month at CSL Plasma.
One year ago, the process you are watching didn't even exist. And for Mike McDermott, Pfizer's president of global supply, a novel virus meant he needed a novel approach to vaccine manufacturing.
This has been an amazing 12 months, like nothing I've ever experienced in my career.
Remember, until the end of last year, no vaccine using mRNA technology had ever been authorized. And now I'm getting an exclusive look here in Kalamazoo, Michigan, at how Pfizer, in partnership with BioNTech, has produced millions of these vaccines.
60 million doses are surrounding us, hugging us right now. Imagine the impact that this room will have, just the doses sitting here today, on U.S. citizens and patients around the world. Yeah, that gives you goosebumps.
While Pfizer has more than doubled its output from a month ago, now producing at least 13 million doses a week, it's still not enough for McDermott.
By the middle of this year, we're at 13 million doses. We'll be at 25 million doses in a couple months. No, 100 million a month. 100 million a month.
And he's doing that by continuing to look for novel solutions, even seemingly simple ones. They found that their suppliers couldn't provide enough dry ice, so they decided to produce their own.
High-vis jackets so we can see each other, hard hat.
It also means that you are now seeing things that President Biden didn't see when he was here just 5 weeks ago in February.
So this is our new formulation suite.
Here is part of how they scale up so fast. These prefab formulation suites, they're all built in Texas before being brought here.
If we built it wall by wall on site, it would have taken us a year. By doing it modularly, we could cut that in half. If you want to get on one side, I'll get on the other.
And yes, as I found, it really is as easy as pushing it into place.
Man, that's amazing. That was pretty smart.
But for McDermott, it really all came down to this key part of the process.
There's never been a commercial scale mRNA vaccine. So everything you see here is custom designed.
Remember, what makes up Pfizer's vaccine is basically mRNA housed in 4 different lipids, which is really just fat. And this tiny tool, called an impingement jet mixer, makes it possible. Now this is going to sound too simple, but here goes. On one side, mRNA is pumped in. On the other side, lipids, and they are forced together with around 400 pounds of pressure. Out comes a lipid nanoparticle, which McDermott says is the perfect package to deliver mRNA to your cells. That's the vaccine.
But when you start to really scale it up like that, how confident were you that it was going to work? Actually, the first time somebody showed me this impingement jet mixer, I said, you can't be serious. How could you put billions of doses through here? So my confidence level was actually quite low. Not that it could be done. I knew it worked at this scale, but how could you multiply it?
Not only did McDermott crack that code and is now on his way to producing billions of doses for the world, his life has now come full circle.
Because as a kid, my dad worked for NASA. He was lucky enough to be in mission control in Houston when Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon, right? That amazing moment. And the day we shipped the first doses out of this site, it rushed over me like that was our moonshot.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Okay, that's how the vaccine is made. So it's good to know how it is made, because it's coming to our arms. So, come on, let's go now. Okay. Now let's see the other 2 videos. Okay, yeah. Okay. As advertisement is a challenge anyway. Okay, there you go. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Come on, don't do that.
In a ceremony attended by ministers, political and military leaders in the city of Zawiya, west of Tripoli, 105 fighters loyal to warlord Khalifa Haftar are released. It's part of a reconciliation process by Libya's new interim government.
This initiative was undertaken by the tribal and political leaders of Zawiya and will help reconciliation efforts.
But not everyone supports this process. These men were taken prisoner on April 5th, 2019, a day after Haftar launched his failed military campaign on Tripoli. They surrendered. When government forces retook western Libya in June 2020, later, atrocities committed by forces loyal to Haftar emerged. In the city of Terhuna, mass graves were unearthed. Officials say at least 129 bodies have been recovered so far. Family members who have lost loved ones want those responsible to be held accountable before any reconciliation process can begin. Libya's Ethiopia's new inter-immunity government is meant to lead the country until nationwide elections can take place in December. For that to happen, a serious reconciliation initiative will have to take place. But in cities like Turhuna and here in the city of Misrata, that will be difficult. According to city officials here, 750 men were killed in Haftar's attempt to take the capital. Back at the ceremony, it's been nearly 2 years since these men were taken captive. Now, they're able to go back home to their loved ones. For their family members, it's a joyous day.
I am so pleased my son is able to come back home. He's been in prison for 2 years. That's a long time. He has 5 children, and supporting them myself has been difficult.
2 of my children will be released today. I'm so happy. I hope all mothers of prisoners across the country can reunite with their children and be happy like I am today. Thank God.
Although the government will face many challenges in its attempt to bring Libyans together, for these families, they are just happy to have their sons back home. Malik Traina, Al Jazeera, Misrata.
Did you know that you can make money from YouTube without creating videos? That's right, you can use other people's videos.
This is in Tigray, and it looks like a training of new recruitment for TPLF. I got it from YouTube. So I don't know how Abi and his supporters gonna finish this war unless they reconcile and discuss on settling this through ceasefire. You can't finish. These people are joining the army because of the abuse, because of the atrocities they are facing from the Eritreans and from the Amara, plus from the Ethiopian soldiers. And this shows they already control a vast area in that country, in that region, I mean. And they'll be able to train all these people openly. That means they are powerful. See the numbers. And the vast area they are in. Okay, so that's the video I want to share with you for today. And as you can see, the war Abiy Ahmed started in Tigray especially will not be over within a weeks. He knows that. But he is pretending he is in control of the region, and they repeatedly lied before. They keep lying. They don't have full control of the Tigray region. Every day war is going on, including bombing by planes. They are using, Abiy Ahmed is using, in coordination with Eritreans, using planes to bomb. If the war is ended, why you need the plane? You don't need the plane. So the only place is assumed safe at this time is Mekelle, the capital city. Other regions, other areas, war going on, ambush going on, assassination is going on. So it will not be over. The only thing can end such internal conflict is coming to the table, and instead of depending on Eritrean soldiers, depending on the Amhara's militia, depending on the Ethiopian soldiers, they must come to the table to end this endless war. It will not be over through military means. The geography will not allow to be over in that way, because of the border issue with Sudan. And Abiy Ahmed is also fighting in Benishangul Gumuz. He is also fighting in Oromia. Bloodshed is everywhere. Command post in Oromia, command post in Benishangul, war in Tigray and other areas. So that's why concerned citizens media analyzed all the situations under Abiy Ahmed leadership and said time for him to go. Time for him to go before too late. I know the Amaras still they want to support him. Still they stand with him because they got something from this war. Well, Agade and some small areas. But we are losing the big picture, the big country. Sudan is deep into 50 miles into Ethiopia. The country is in chaos, destruction, instability everywhere, insecurity everywhere, people jailed forever without credible justice, and they are they are celebrating his third year in power. What the celebration for? It's nothing improved. This guy was welcomed at the beginning. Now he's like a dictator, the worst dictator. He is following Isaias Afwerki. So I hope he will step back and see for himself. Is the country heading into the right direction? Is it worth to keep killing the people? Is it worth to put people in jail and using the government resources, using the court system, using the federal police, using PP cadres? So he has to examine the situation. I hope he will give up before the countries going into further destruction, further death and destruction in that country. It's very serious. Nobody's investing. The country is isolated globally. As I read from G7 countries, Canada, United States, Germany, France, all these express their concerns about that country. So nobody's investing. If there is no foreign investment, and if the country is isolated globally, no way she can be successful. So Ethiopians must call on him to resign, and rushing for this fake election is useless. Inclusive dialogue, inclusive reconciliation about the future of the country is needed to form transitional government with all stakeholders. So that's all I have for today. Thank you again for coming back and sharing your time with me. Like my video, share with your family, friends, so we can be the voice for the voiceless, so we can stand for justice, equality, freedom, prosperity, and for inclusiveness, and for ending bloodshed in Ethiopia through raising our voice through the media. So please share with friends, families, like the video, comment on it, and if you have credible news, send to my email birke663@gmail.com. So if it is credible, I will present it to all listeners. Thank you again. See you next time. Stay safe.